As last week, we announced the launch of our capital campaign, and we're pleased to announce the theme, Growing Brighter. And if you notice, there's COR in the center, or Church of the River. But we're very excited about this theme and acknowledge the entire committee for coming up with this idea, and especially thank Kate and Rod for the graphics and taking our thinking to the next step, which is the logo that you see now. So we're thinking this capital campaign will result in us growing brighter as a church community, as a steward of this facility, as an accessible gathering place, as a beacon for liberal religion, and as a desirable venue that will strengthen our church financially, i.e. a wedding destination or other meeting spaces for the Memphis community. So just a brief history, I hope everyone can see this. We started out with a master plan around 2008 that was developed by a church committee and A&F architects. And this was indefinitely postponed due to the economic downturn, as you may all remember. So this was put on the back burner, if you will. We had a vision process around 2014-15 that really did affirm our desire to grow brighter as a church community and as a liberal religious destination for the city of Memphis. So just to let you know the steps that have taken place since the campaign effort began, we were charged by the Board of Trustees in 2019. I announced the committee last week, but again, myself, Roy Bell, Diane Duke, Kate Haywood, Paul Herman, David Jennings, Sandy Kozik, and Rod Starnes. We did solicit a wish list from Reverend Sam, the Board of Trustees, all the committee and ministry chairs, the office manager, the DRE, and our facilities manager. So basically, the concept that you'll see today is really a distillation of prior input from the 2008 master plan, the desires of the congregation through the vision plan, and then the wish list that was generated this year from the people that I just mentioned. We met with and formalized re-engagement with A&F, and we're pleased to have Joe Wieronski here today. And over the last year, together with A&F, we've developed the concepts that will be presented to the congregation today. So let me emphasize, today is Concept Sunday. This is a first step. We're not into the weeds yet. We do not have the details. We're certainly not into construction plans. This is meant to be for you to see the progress that we've made as a committee in terms of plans, the concepts that A&F have generated on paper, and we will have step-by-step process in order for all of us to be engaged and to really discuss this repair, this renovation, this enhancement to our sacred space. I'm very pleased to introduce Joe Wieronski from Askew Nixon Ferguson Architects, and thankfully we can call them A&F for short. We've had a long-term collaborative relationship with Joe and A&F. They were our architects for the master plan in 2008, which was postponed, as I mentioned earlier. They know our church, they know our culture, and we are confident as a committee that they will be good stewards of our monies and ever mindful of our architectural gem. So, Joe, it's all yours.
Thank you. So again, thanks for coming out. And as Lisa said, I'll be sharing with you some of the concepts that we've developed so far. We're not beginning to make this too much, but just kind of some of the ideas that we've talked about so far, and the details are not worked out. We still have to figure a lot of things out, such as the deck outside. I'm not sure which, is it angle, is it straight? No, the details. Louder. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. And also, I just want to say that I really feel privileged to work on this project. worked on a great piece of architecture that you have here. Roy Marlowe was a great guy and designed many things in Memphis, including this building. And the founder of our firm, Lee Askew, worked for Roy Marlowe for a little while. So we have a little bit of a connection. So, but I will go ahead and get into it. This is kind of the existing site survey. And we are right here in the sanctuary. And one thing I learned when I started this, I always thought that was west, because Arkansas is over there. But it's really more north, northwest. So this is really the north elevation of the building, if you kind of rotate it a little bit. And see, here's the north arrow here, and it's going up that direction. And I said, well, that's not right. So I checked it out on Google Earth. I said, yeah, it is. This is the north side of the building, for the most part, north-northwest. So this is kind of north, that's east, south, and west over there. And what I'm going to be talking about today is this breezeway area. We'll talk about how to get from the breezeway area down to here. We're going to talk about the Mississippi River Ring and the Chalice Ring and some supporting spaces. And then also how to get down to this location right here. And these are some of the ideas that we have come up with. Now, also, I want to just touch on, I'm not going to get into too much detail, landscape architecture that Richie Smith and Associates have developed for the playground area. So just kind of FYI, it's very nice. But I'm not going to get into it too much because Richie worked on that. So this is the existing floor plan. I'm going to say, here's the sanctuary area right here. And I'm going to start by talking about this breezeway. And what we wanted to do, and one of our ideas, is to create a space here so you have kind of an indoor space. You're not coming directly from the outside. And also a space that could be a gathering before you come into the sanctuary. It can be called a gathering space or a narthex. We don't know what we'll call it yet. It's listed a couple different ways in here. But it also becomes kind of a multi-purpose room too during the week. It can be a lot of different things. So we said, how can we develop this? And when we're looking at it, we said, it'd be nice to put a set of doors right there, and that becomes your main entrance. And then put a set of doors here and here, and put a wall there. And so you can come down the steps. And then we said, we need a ramp right here. So we can come down and get down to here. So let's put a set of doors here, set of doors here. Let's put a glass wall there, and you close that. And we talked about covering it up and making it part of the space as well, but right now we said let's just close it. And then when we close it, it's going to rain. So we're going to put a catch basin right there to collect the water and get it out of there. So this is kind of the layout we came up with for that space. It's about 1,000 square feet. So we have a new set of doors right in here, or they're the existing doors that are just relocated there. And you have a new set of doors put here that are interior doors. Maybe they're wood and glass, I don't know. So, and then we added double set of doors here that you can come down this handicap ramp and go down to the lower courtyard. And this set of doors that you can just go down the existing steps. We still maintain this tree, and we've enlarged this planting area a little bit. Now here's the kids play around on that tree. But we're not going to touch that tree. And then also, there's a little bit of a challenge, but we would like to rework this ramp right here and make it ADA accessible, and we'll probably have to extend it out a little bit, and maybe we bump up the paving out there at the drive a little bit to work. But so we'd like to rework that, and you can get away from that little kind of side ramp that you have now. It's a bit of a trip hazard. So hopefully we can solve that problem while we're doing that. And then, of course, when we build this gathering space, we'll have to rework all of the floor area out there, because it kind of goes down. So we have to rework all that. But it's all doable. And but this kind of really makes for a nice space, and we also thought about, let's vault the ceiling in there as much as we can so it still works with the existing roof lines out here. And let's vault the ceiling and use similar type of wood that you have here, and maybe there's a skylight down the middle of it to let in some additional natural daylight. So that's the plan at the moment. So, and this is kind of, what the entrance looks like right now. And this is kind of a hand sketch of what it could look like for, it's a rough hand sketch, but it kind of gives you an idea of the vaulted ceiling. And then we were going to have the skylight directly above, and we'd have some wood slats that would run horizontally, but if you stood underneath it, you could see the skylight, but when you're at different angles, you're not being blinded by the light coming in. So, but it could make a very nice space. I mean, this little area here could be a great place to put some coffee and donuts, some chairs, Sundays, but also it could be something else, like I said, during the week. And here's kind of like a section through that. We cut a section right through that, looking at the doors. Here's that skylight that I was telling you about. And this is the kind of wood slats hanging down that could have some lights up here. So at night, you could get some lighting in it. And here's kind of a person. So it's not huge and grand of a space, but it's a comfortable space. And then here's a little hand sketch of this ramp that we would come down and go like there. And so we had to reduce the size a little bit of this planting area. We had to get rid of that planting area. We increased this planting area just a little bit, but we cut it back from here. That tree's kind of right up there. And in reality, we'll probably rework those steps a little bit, but we'll keep steps there. So this was just some quick hand sketches early on of the space. So that's the narthex, the gathering space, the entrance to this area. So now we'll move to the Mississippi River Ring. And the goal there, before I go there, this is your lower courtyard area. We also talked about having the ability to tent this space off for large events that you might have. So we want to look at that idea to make sure we, have the ability to do that. Maybe have some permanent structure in place. But here's the Mississippi River Room, and the existing wall goes right there at the moment. And this is the existing tree that's out there right now. So we said, let's open up that wall. We'll have to put a beam up above. And then just extend this out as far as we dare. And then right now, we've got it this same dimension. And we just extended that, or about that same dimension. So we just extended it straight out. It's really kind of a glass wall. There's some columns here in the corners. And so it's almost 2,000 square feet. Right now it's about 1,500 square feet. So we're increasing the size of that room. And then we said, let's have a deck, and we're still trying to struggle with the shape of the deck and how it is, but we have a deck out there and a couple double doors that you can exit out to. And whatever the deck shape takes, you know, you can put tables and chairs or just kind of hang out here. And they said, well, you know, if we do that, we really need some storage for tables and chairs that are going inside here, but also if we have some. So this chalice room over here, we kind of reworked right there. So we took out this existing window, we put in a set of double doors. We created a new wall right here, set of double doors, and created this large storage room that can be accessed from the outside or inside. And then we reworked the choir's area. I hope I'm not messing up the choir.
Okay, look out.
But we're reworking it. And right now there's a kind of a shower right here, and there's kind of storage back in there. So we're creating, there's a need for restrooms, we were told, and I agree with that. So we created two restrooms, and this restroom here has a shower, and then we're relocating the mop sink that was off the kitchen area back over to here. And we could, you know, flip this to a couple of different things, but that's kind of the layout we have at the moment. And this exterior storage and mechanical room, we're not touching at all. We're just kind of leaving it as is. And this ramp and steps that go into here, we're really kind of leaving in place too because, you know, budget reasons. In the kitchen, we're expanding a little bit. Right now, there's this room right here that's kind of a storage and mechanical ductwork that's right there. And there's a sink right here that we're relocating over to there. So we're trying to make the kitchen as large as we can make it. And then also we added a door to the courtyard so you could have access in and out, whether you bring something in or you have an event and you want to take it out to the courtyard. And then these are the existing doors that are there now. So we just kind of work with them. And then these little niches are there now. The doors are not on. We're going to talk about adding those. Right now, you have like chairs stacked up and that sort of thing. Some millwork back in here. And it was brought up in one of our meetings that wouldn't it be nice if we could close those off and have some doors that maybe you don't even know they're doors. You just push on them, they open up, or maybe they have hardware on that you can open them up. But they kind of conceal some of the storage. And I thought that was a great idea. So that is the Mississippi River room. And reworking the child's room. And then you have this other space here that really becomes a little small ante-room. I call it the small river room. I made that up, but and then we have a screen that's right here, and then I'm proposing we relocate it to right there, but it could be relocated somewhere else. So we're increasing the space of this. We're reworking this room. And you have kind of two spaces, and then we're providing some outdoor connection. And then as far as the roof line goes, you'll see that these dotted lines right here, that's kind of roof overhang protecting the double doors, and we're kind of carrying on that same line around. to match with the existing architecture. And one thing I noticed, or I learned, is that black line that runs through, that's a constant throughout the entire facility. It's all the exact same level above sea level all the way around. And everything else just kind of drops away depending on how much space it is. But that line is a constant. So we want to maintain that same line throughout the facility. But that's kind of getting to the details a little bit. So this is the Mississippi River Range today. Just kind of a view out. And it's okay, let's take out this wall right here. Of course, we'll have to put a beam up there to hold that load, but that's very doable. And then this is kind of what it could look like. Little kind of hand sketch, and it really kind of opens up the view, and you can kind of walk out into that space and give you more square footage. And the view is very nice. But again, we could adjust that length of that wall depending on how far we dare to go before we go off into the river, or we spend too much money. So, and here's kind of a computer sketch of that, a little bit more detail. You can see where we enclose the little niches in there for storage. And I'm thinking, and we have this get into details, but we're going to have a handrail, a guardrail out there so people can follow over the side. It's 42 inches high. And it could be just kind of a picket rail that goes all the way around. But there's such a great view out there, I'm kind of starting to think that maybe it's a glass rail. Now, y'all have to keep it clean. It'll keep it much more transparent. I'm sure y'all have seen glass guardrails in various facilities around. So here's a little sketch of hiding those storage spaces. I think this was Chris's idea. Chris or Pates, I'm not sure. I think it's Chris. And this is just another sketch showing the existing Mississippi River Room. It's kind of a wide angle lens, so it's kind of stretched a little bit. So, but this is the area that we're talking about opening up, and these little cubby areas that we're going to close. And this is kind of what it would look like when we expand it out. And so we're not messing with the ceiling in the Mississippi River Room at all. We're just kind of maintaining that. Maybe clean it up, maybe tweak the lights a little bit, but we're leaving that exactly as it is. And then when it gets to the expansion, it's going to the existing comes down, and then the expansion is just going to straight out down. And it's going to be the same wood ceiling, so it's like it's all tied in together, kind of meant to be that way. And then here's that line I was telling you about. That goes around the entire facility. It's a great detail. Rory did a great job, but it's just amazing how the details are worked out in this building. So here's kind of a view from the outside. And this is kind of a computer model of that same view. And this is what we would take out, that, and that. And this is kind of what it would look like expanding out. We'd use the same roof material, metal roof, and we'd tie it back into the existing. You can see this line here comes and goes back around. And so you have this little covered area for your doors there. It's kind of the same thing here, except it's a cantilever now, but the line just kind of lines right up. And this is just a view looking the other direction. Here's the storage doors. We took out the window and have the storage in there. And this is kind of showing where that existing large tree is out there. And this is the roof material would be kind of come up in the time that exists. That line wouldn't be there, and you can notice that. But so that's kind of what it would look like. And you know, got this deck, and these people are kind of hanging out. So, and then we talked about how do we get down to this spot here relatively inexpensive. And this is one of my favorite parts of the project right here. Here's the existing tree. And we said, let's have a walk that goes down to the, it's about 6 or 7 feet difference. So let's have a very gradual walk. And it's not a ramp. If it's a walk, you don't have to have guardrails or handrails. If it's a ramp, you do to meet ADA. So this is a walk that's gradually going back, but in order to gradually get there, you'd have a long, we have 120 feet or so of walk to get from one end to the other. So we said, let's create a Lombard Street of San Francisco and do switchback all the way down to make up for that distance. And then also there was talk about a labyrinth. And there's still some places that you could do something. I think you ought to take that circular drive out there and infill the middle part of it and make it to a labyrinth. But this is kind of a modern day take of a labyrinth. So you're outside the Mississippi River Room on the patio, and you just do a slow meditative walk down here, and you can come in through there. So it's being ADA accessible way to get down to this location. It's a meditative walk. And then also, we said, you don't want it to be just that. You want to also have a destination. So I said, let's create this deck that's cantilevered out over there that people could go to and have some benches on there. And you could go down there for a retreat, or you could go down there for a small meeting, or you could go down there for just lunch. So it becomes just a nice destination, and you get to it along this walkway. Now, being practical that I am at times, I said, that's cool, but if I had a 15-minute lunch, I'm going to either do this, or I'm going to do this. So, what we could do is fill in concrete right along the edge here, and put a few steps. So somebody could, or you could do it at this end too. So somebody could just go like that if they're in a hurry. Or you could just say, I don't care if you're in a hurry or not, we're going to put shrubs in and push and see the wall. So here's kind of a quick early concept sketch of it. And you have your existing shrubs that are along here, and so we need to manicure them a little bit, tighten them up a little, but we still like them against there. And that becomes kind of a border for this wall. So,
existing sidewalk that's next to the building.
excuse me?
What about the walk that is there now, next to the building?
Right here?
Yes.
Yeah, that would stay. Now, one thing we would like to do, that area in the courtyard, is to clean up the existing walls. Maybe we just sandblast them and clean up the paving, that sort of thing. And then we'd also like to, whatever this deck shape is, we'd like for that to be paving that matches your courtyard, but that means retaining wall and a few other things. So we haven't really figured out that detail yet of which way it really needs to go, but that's kind of the thought that we'd like to have. And then it's also mentioned to continue this walk, maybe it continues around the whole facility. You loop around. So, that's it.